people to stop what they're doing and actually start listening to their body. Like, stop getting caught up in this trap of killing yourself and trying to compete with everyone else, and stop and be at one with who you are and what your body is capable of doing and what it can do.
Welcome to the Optimum Human Podcast, the show that interviews the world's top experts in fitness, nutrition, mindset, and beyond. Let's get into the show.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Optimum Human Podcast. My name is Brian McKay, he's Claude Petroulis, and we host the Optimum Human Podcast. Today we've got another awesome guest, CHEK faculty member, Carl Weston. Carl, how the hell are you today, man?
I'm very well, thanks guys. Thanks for having me on. Looking forward to doing this with you guys today and seeing what we can talk about.
Absolutely. And Claude, sir? Wait, no. Nobody cares. No, but in all seriousness, how you doing?
Thank you for pretending to care, Brian.
You're welcome.
I'm doing pretty well. I mean, it's a beautiful day in Toronto today for winter, lots of sun, so that makes me happy. And that's all I really, that's it. Boring. Life Beautiful. Is boring, but it's good.
Yes. Nice and relaxing. That's always good.
Yeah, no meteors falling from the sky, so I'm pretty happy.
Not yet, anyway.
Not yet, anyway. Another 4 years, we'll see what happens.
All right. Anyways, on to Mr. Carl Weston. So for those who don't know who you are or what you do, who are you and what do you do, Carl?
Okay, easy answer to start off with. I am a CHEK faculty member, new to the faculty in the Institute for about 12 months now. I've been part of going through the CHEK system now for probably about 8 years. I own my own studio.
Did they hold you back a few years, or?
No, I was.
kidding.
I just decided to bum around the world a little bit and travel and live in inaccessible places a lot of the time that were a little bit warmer than Toronto. So it was always getting into that type of lifestyle was never always a priority as what it's become now. Anyway. But yeah, and I got my own studio here in Toronto, and I get the likes of hanging out with Claude every now and again, which is always, I don't know, some would call it a pleasure. I don't know if I'd call it that, but
interesting. Yeah, that's the word I use anyway.
Interesting is a good word to describe Claude. That's for sure.
Sweet and sour. Can we just go with that?
Sweet and sour.
Yeah,
Call you like, I'm gonna start calling you Dib Dab or Sherbet
or Chinese food.
Now I'm hungry for spring rolls. So Carl, for people who don't know what the CHEK Institute is, can you just give us a brief rundown?
Sure. So the CHEK stands for Corrective High Performance Exercise Kinesiology, or another way is CHEK Holistic Exercise Kinesiology, and we're a school system which teaches people how to heal the human body from multiple angles. We work on the physical element of the training, and we work on the mental, spiritual, emotional elements of getting the body into full balance and working them towards a homeostasis level through various techniques of, like you said earlier, sleep's really important. Then we look at the diet and we look at their happiness and their movement. So we're a very well-rounded practitioner that works with kind of people from all walks of life.
Awesome. And how did you hook up with the Institute? What got you into it in the first place?
Oh, good question. I got put onto the Institute by an old boss of mine. This is going back, this is post-surf traveling career that I had. So probably about 13 or 14 years ago, someone actually gave me a VHS. I don't even know if you'd remember that, Claude.
Yeah,
quite young.
Wait, but this was back in your male dancing days, your exotic dancing days.
You're correct. Yeah, I used to be a male stripper, and
no, I don't know. Are you guys being serious or not?
No.
Okay. I mean, hey, a young fit Aussie. I mean, who knows?
Yeah. Well,
no, I surfed at quite a high level and probably stripped on too many occasions, but never for money. That was for sure.
Fair enough.
So, all right. So you got this VHS, and there's a Paul CHEK with hair on his head, probably at this point.
Oh, it was the original Paul. It was the kind of. You kind of get an introduction to Paul, what he was like 15 years ago, and Paul's obviously mellowed out a heap now, and a lot. And I just remember being lost at the point in my career of, I had a degree in sports science, and I felt something was lacking with my practice and what I was doing, and I was torn at the point of whether I stayed in the industry or left. And my boss at the time gave me a video, and she's like, look, check this guy out. He's one of the leading guys at that time, and he's kind of onto a different path, and he's really changing the face of what people are doing right now. And I watched it, got into it, was a little bit blown away and a little bit intimidated by what he was talking about in terms of the depth of the knowledge. And that was kind of it for me. That was like the hook. And from then on, it was one thing after another. I just went straight out and bought all the prereqs, and then it was like within a couple of years, gone through the full system. Wow!
So you found you really found something in it that resonated. What really what made you be like, this is for me? Like, what was the one thing that, or is it or multiple things?
I guess at the time I was looking for something that I needed to focus my, drive. I've always had quite a big drive in sense of needing to better myself. And he was on to a whole different pathway. I mean, going back 15, 20 years, there wasn't the, certainly 15 years, there wasn't the fitness or the wellness courses out there like there are today. And Paul was certainly the forefront of that, and he was kind of like the game changer in a lot of that sense. But as soon as I did my first ever course being the exercise coach, at that point I knew there and then that I was on the right path and I was doing the right thing and that I'd made the right choice.
Yeah, I mean, like, Paul is a genius. If anyone wants to look up his stuff on YouTube, it's amazing. My goal is to be half of what Paul was 20 years ago. Like, the guy is intensely intelligent, and I honestly don't even know how a human can be at that level. But yeah, he's a good teacher, that's for sure.
He's certainly one of the best out there, and he's very well rounded. He's not as much biomechanical anymore and physical as much as what he is the mental, spiritual, and emotional, but it just goes to show you the type of growth that he's gone through, because he was renowned as being one of the top therapists on the planet that all walks of life people would go to, your top athletes to your everyday kind of Joe Bloggs type person was just sourcing him out, trying to work with him. And his system's been proven over and over again to work, and it's just being able to implement it and get it out there to as many people as possible, I guess, now.
Yeah, for sure. And he's evolved to that level where what you were saying is he's focusing on the other side that people don't necessarily see, and he's got a great program, the PPS Success, and I've just delved into a little bit, and it's like, it just blows your mind.
The PPS Success is a great program for anyone to do in terms of self-development. He's, like you said, there's the life coaching element, which is really taken off, and that's evolved immensely in the past 5 years from when I first did them. And I've had the chance to redo HLC 2 and 3 again, which is just, they're mind-opening courses, and it goes to show you the depth that the Institute goes into in terms of how to heal people on a mental, spiritual, and emotional level. And the latest part of that he's launching has been the 4 quadrant, which is still being figured out at the minute. But I managed to go and do the 4-day live one with him last year, which was mind opening in itself with where he's going to be taking that as well. So he's definitely progressed from the body sphere of the healing element into that to the other realms of healing.
Now, I just want to rewind the clock a little bit. You said you've got a degree in sports science.
Yeah.
why did you go with sports science? Were you just always into physical things, or did you have a certain career in mind?
Not really. I never even wanted to go to university. I kind of had my life set out as just going to go travel the world and surf. And my parents were like, Matt, you got to...
That's pesky parents.
As they do.
Yeah, they kind of said, you know what, like, we appreciate that you've got this opportunity to travel and surf, but they kind of put me in a corner and said, you got to go to uni as well because you don't know how long this will happen or this will last for. So it was a stepping stone point then that, yeah, I'm like, well, I'll go to university. You know, what can I do that can keep me as fit as possible and continue my passion of pushing myself and learning the body? And I loved science all the way through school. I was always fascinated by biology and chemistry and physics a little bit, but the sports science is always fascinating me. So I got a place in a university on the south coast of England, actually, and did my 3 years and got my Bachelor of Science degree in sports science.
Nice, man. Nice. Now, how did you get to England from Aussie land?
Oh, family. You know, it's my mum's family's down in Australia and schooling systems, and just parents were ready to be there. So it was a matter of going back and setting up shop there for a while. But since 17, 18, I've kind of just been bumming around the world again and moving from one place to the other.
Huh. You're like a nomad with a surfboard.
That's what my brother would say. He's kind of like, I don't seem to be able to spend too much more than 4 years in one place at a time. But, you know, I've spent a lot of time in some beautiful places. I've surfed probably most of the top destinations you'd ever want to go around the world. And I've lived a little bit in England and spent quite a bit of time down in Bermuda. And I've been in Canada now for 4 years, coming into my 5th year, I guess. So
it's about time to move, huh?
Oh yeah, I tried to get a bit of a move last year. I got itchy feet, kind of wanting to go to kind of San Diego and maybe set up shop there. So that's still up in the air, but it's still not ruled out. And I'm in talks with a couple of people about moving again. But right now, I'm happy where I am. So
good. Right on. Awesome. I will let Brian ask some questions because I feel like the big bully again.
Well, I mean. Yeah. Actually, Carl, I was kind of curious. This is something that's been on my mind. What is like something that you've learned that like you used to swear by that you no longer swear by and have kind of found something else? I don't know if that makes sense or if it's a crappy question or not.
Twerking. He used to twerk a lot.
Twerking, yeah. I was twerking before
it was cool.
Invented.
Now he thinks it cheapens his act.
There's a couple of things both with that, you know, both on a training and a holistic level. I used to kind of be that trainer that used to have the mentality that if you weren't killing your clients, you weren't giving them justice. Like, they're paying for me to come in and have a workout. I used to have the mentality that they were going to come in, and if they kind of weren't crawling out the gym on like their hands and their knees in a pool of sweat, I always felt that I'd not done my job. And that's changed massively now, you know. I never train clients like that anymore, put it that way. And that's a huge thing where I thought as a trainer, you just had to kill or punish your clients coming in. And it's a full 360 on terms of what I would do now. And the same aspect, you know, I had a huge shift in like nutritional attitude as well, that, you know, you shouldn't be eating too much of this or you shouldn't be eating that. And I used to eat what I thought was a healthy diet with, you know, the types of the oats and the berries and the low fat yogurt and lean meats and all that sort of stuff. And not that it's not healthy for some people, but it didn't work for me. And I could never get rid of, like, I'd always have that excess 10 or 15 pounds. And it was never really weight on me. It was just inflammation. And going through the CHEK system, you know, it prompted me to do the metabolic typing course. So I did the William Walcott course on metabolic typing and found out I was a protein type. And within about 3 weeks of shifting my eating to what most people would say is absurd in the amount of protein and fat that I eat, and that I should be overweight and unhealthy. And it was a complete shift in paradigm and thinking for me, but I've since then probably the healthiest I've ever been.
Yeah, it's funny how that works.
Yeah, you start listening to your body and you stop listening to the mainstream media and health professionals about what is healthy or what you should do, or just the general populations have no idea, and it's quite shocking. But it was an eye-opener for me, and being someone in the health and fitness industry, it was scary of what little I did know until I actually opened my mind and opened my brain to the research and the studies and actually educating myself on what's really happening and going on.
Yeah, and now it's your job to educate others to educate others.
Yeah, you kind of gone full circle on that. I've invested a hell of a lot of money and time, and now I'm in a position and I've got a business and a studio and a platform. I work for the Institute and work for Paul, teaching others how to do the same, and it's a phenomenal experience. It's a dream come true in that aspect. But yeah, it's got to get the word out to as many people as you can, and hopefully they'll do the same, and the people that they tell will do the same, and people start taking a little bit more care and self-acceptance for what they're doing to their bodies.
Yeah,
for sure.
Taking a little bit of responsibility for ourselves, and then in turn that kind of helps the rest of the planet as well.
Yeah, if people could be a little bit more conscious of what they are doing and what they're eating, and shop less from the mainstream kind of supermarkets and get away from the mass-produced foods. And I'm a huge believer in local support. Support the local farmers and local butchers and meat people. It's all going to help the planet in the long run if we can go back to a little bit more simple living, I think, than the craziness that everyone's running around in today.
Yeah, I just came across the idea the other day that happiness is found in removing things from your life as opposed to adding things in.
Yeah.
Now, Carl, I know you travel a lot now for the Institute for teaching. How do you keep that work-life balance, or does it not exist?
It's probably the one problem and the one thing in my life I struggle with. And Paul continually sends all the faculty, everyone, we always get reminders, you got to make sure that you're not doing too much. Anyone in the industry as well, you've got this gift and you've got this skill set where you can help people and you can heal people and you can make people's lives better. And I love what I do. I genuinely have such a desire and still a huge burning fire within me to help as many people as possible. But I have to monitor what I'm doing in terms of the day-to-day work. And it's a little bit trickier when I am traveling and teaching. I've got a studio where I've got people in there that work for me or work with me. And Claude, George has been a huge help. He's been with us for almost a year now, and he helps cover my client load when I'm away. And that's the challenging aspect. My clients will kind of bump up a session or two before and when I get back, and then I've got the guys in the studio that help cover. But it's hard getting that balance because you're traveling through different time zones, and I often need time to recover when I'm back. But I've got such a full schedule of clients that I'm kind of always stepping back into, and every course has been different. But I try and at least take a day or two after I've taught and got back, just to not do too much and ground myself and get myself back into a routine. And I think I'm young enough at the minute to carry that and to heal that within a day or two. But I know some of the other practitioners that have been doing it for a lot longer, they'll generally take a week off after they've taught a course, because it's a lot of giving and it's a lot of energy exchanging, and they kind of takes a little bit of time. But I've certainly been exposed to that in the past 12 months, that it's hard. That constant balance it's not easy in this industry, and that's something that I'm always working on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, what does that day or two of rest look like for you? Is that sitting on the couch watching TV, or what does that look like for you?
Oh, in an ideal world, it would be sat on a beach, getting some sunshine either in the salt water or on the sand. But as you guys know, I live in Toronto. So what would that look like for me? Claude knows I have a beautiful dog, and he is a huge healing element for me because he makes me get outside every day.
Dr. Benson.
Dr. Benson, yeah, he's my Dr. Quiet and Dr. Happiness. But he gets me outside, and I love. I brought up surfing and being in sports that were heavily involved with being outside. I love, and I do regenerate myself by getting out. And even in Toronto, it could be -30, and I'm still going to get out and walk him. So, to me, that looks like some couch time. You know, sleeping in, not getting up to an alarm. Maybe.
Speak of the devil.
Maybe getting a massage booked in. I love going down to the beaches and walking along the sand and the water, or getting out into the trails for 1 or 2 hours. And it's just a kind of recovery, you know. I get my food, get some meal prep done so I'm good for the week, and it's just rest, lie, do very little, try not to watch too much TV on those days. Mm-hmm. It's just relaxing and really just switching off and
recharging those batteries.
Yeah, and the easiest way is a couple of walks with the dog and some good food and an afternoon nap. Got to get those naps in.
Yes, naps are a wonderful thing.
I'm a pro nap person. I love my naps in the afternoon if I can get them. They're a lifesaver.
Yeah, but like speaking to what you were saying earlier, it's very easy in this industry to just give and give and give and just completely burn out. I mean, I've done it. I mean, you guys have probably done it. Yep. It's just you've got that it almost feels like endless energy, but then you hit that brick wall and it's just like, shit, like what do I do now? Because it's your passion and you're helping people, and it's like this good thing, but it's like you can only burn the candle at both ends for so long. So yeah, recharging is good. Even in whatever industry you're in, people nowadays are so burned out from literally everything.
Yeah, I think I heard the other day on the news that in Ontario, I don't know if it was the whole of Canada, but they said in Ontario, young people today, they work more hours than anyone's ever done, and they earn less money, and they're way more stressed out. And it's not setting themselves up for a good future, that's for sure. And that's the sad thing. Everyone is overworking. I don't know if it was you guys that did a podcast on overtraining or something with someone, and I'm like, people aren't overtraining. People are over-lifing today. They're just doing far too much stuff which stresses them out, and they have no idea on like the yin element, on the working in. And it's sad to see. I see young lads coming into my place in their 20s that they can't gain muscle. They've got no sex drive. They're depressed. And I'm like, you're at a prime point in your life where you should just be a ball of energy and a ball of fun and no stress and no drama. But you see that less and less today, and I think that's a huge concern. Completely.
I mean, it's an epidemic, and especially with all the chemicals and shit that we're consuming through our skin, through our mouths, through our lungs. It's just everything is everything's kind of stacked against the average person nowadays. But you said something about yin energy. Could you just give our listeners a little bit of intro to that?
It's, the working, it's the working in versus the working out, the yin, the yang, the push, the pull, the give, the take, the light, the dark. It's about balance. And you've kind of hit it on the head. We're in a society, in a world where we are dogged by everything we do. You sit in a car and you've got chemicals and you've got fumes, or you get on the bus or the train, and the clothes that you're putting on, the chemicals that you're washing your clothes in, the pots and the pans that are leaching that people are cooking food in, and the availability of bad food loaded with chemicals. Everyone's in a system that it's just take, and no one really gives enough time to give back. And people don't sleep enough, people don't eat the right food, people don't think healthy, people overtrain. And not that it's overtraining, but it's another thing that takes from the body instead of charging it up, where people really should be maybe taking time out to meditate, to sleep, to actually get to bed, or to nap, or to eat good food, and to maybe do some Tai Chi or some yoga that doesn't take as much from the body as what a lot of the other sport and fitness programs are out there, and charge themselves back up.
Just go and play. Just go and do something that's fun.
Do something that's fun. That's what shocks me. I walk my dog every day around trails and parks, and there's never anyone on these parks anymore. And I'm like, as a kid, I went and sat on the swings, I think 2 or 3 days ago. I'm like, I'm going to just sit on a swing for 5 minutes while my dog runs around. And there's never anyone on there. And it's sad I think it's really sad the way we are going as a society right now.
Yeah, very do, achieve, and happiness is kind of comes on the second to achievement.
Yeah, people are losing sight of what life should be about, and they're all getting caught up in a very materialistic world right now, and social media doesn't help that at all. It's all pushing and promoting what other people have, and it just creates creates a false sense of living for a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, you got to make a living, but we don't need to buy everything that we think we want.
You mean I don't need the iPhone 700?
No,
but I need it.
Go get the Nokia 3310 that they're launching.
I saw that.
That
thing is a hammer.
I'm gonna go play Snake for my Dr. Happy.
Yeah, you love playing with snakes, don't you, Brian?
Yes, I do, Claude. Yes, I do. That shut you right up, didn't it?
But now I've completely thrown this off the rails, and I can't remember my question. But Carl,
way to go.
The whole meditating thing, people get freaked out by that. What do you suggest to somebody who's totally stressed out? They've got way too much going on. They're saying, I don't even have time to meditate. How do you approach that type of person?
I always go back to square breathing with people. For me, any A-type personality, anyone that's that kind of gun-ho, adrenaline, kind of jacked up on caffeine, someone that just won't sit down there and truly get into a meditation, I teach them how to square breathe.
Carl, can I ask you a favor?
Yes.
Can you take us through some square breathing right now? Just for I don't know, 30 seconds, whatever. Just if you don't mind explaining it, and then we'll just do a few breaths, and hopefully the people at home will benefit from this too.
We sure can. So are you sat in a nice comfortable position, guys?
I'm standing in a nice comfortable position.
Me too.
Okay, so standing. So I want you to imagine then that you have a square. You can either imagine a square on the wall in front of you. You can draw it around your computer screen. You can draw it around your phone. And we're just going to focus on that square element on each part of the breath. So I'm going to ask you to be nice and relaxed, and I'm going to ask you to take a big, deep breath in, and we're going to hold that breath for 3 seconds, and you're going to draw one line of that square. So you're going to breathe in for 3 seconds, and you're going to draw a line to the square. You're going to hold that breath for 3 seconds and draw the second line to the square. You're going to exhale for 3 seconds and draw the third line of the square. And you're going to hold that exhalation for another 3 seconds and complete the square.
All right.
And that's your square breathing. So you can do 2 seconds, you can do 3 seconds, you can do 4 seconds. And
Beautiful.
It's easy for clients to follow it through. You ask them to start off with a small amount of time, maybe 2 minutes of doing that. And you build them up to 5, you build them up to 10. And it's just a really simple technique, and you get them to draw a square so they have something to focus on, that they're not thinking about anything else about that square that they're drawing, because most people have wandering minds, and you're giving them that focal point to work with.
Now you're drawing that with your mind, not actually like a pencil and paper, correct?
Not drawing it with a pencil and paper, you just draw it with your mind. So
Okay.
you can follow with the eyes, or you can have your eyes closed and just draw a square in your imagination.
Yes, unless you're driving while listening to this podcast, don't close your eyes.
Then please don't close your eyes, no.
For the love of God.
I do not want to be held up in court of anything of saying, well, Carl was telling me to close my eyes and draw a square, so I did that.
Oh, that would be interesting.
Yes. Common sense. You just have to put those disclaimers out there.
It hurts, Brian.
Yes.
It hurts.
It
All this
does.
common
It
sense.
does.
Oh, shit. All right. Well, that is super useful because most people are so fucking distracted. It's like they're thinking about their next Amazon delivery. They're thinking about what's on Netflix. They're thinking about dinner. They're thinking about this. They're thinking about that. I think it's a great method to kind of trick your mind into keeping somewhat still.
Yeah, I mean, I know some multiple breathing techniques, and that particular one just, one breath, and I felt a lot calmer.
Yeah, it's focus, and I think the holding does something too, but I don't want to.
Yeah, you don't want to go much more over 4 seconds with each one because you can get people hyperventilating or going into a panic state. You don't want to do that. But like I said, it's for those people that really find it hard to switch their brains off, which is probably most people that you encounter on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, most people have been kind of programmed to just go, 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 go.
Yeah.
And rest is for the weak. Yeah.
Oh, no, rest is for the people that want to
live longer.
Live longer and
live
not
happier.
Be as unhealthy and be happier and be healthier.
Hell yeah. Speaking of health, I don't want to keep prodding you too much, unless you like it. What do you do to stay healthy on the road? Because I know that's it's a big thing, traveling through airports, being on planes, go, like 10-hour days, 12-hour days. So are there any supplements you take, or do you just meditate and eat right?
So depending on where I am, like I've been down to New York a few times now, and I've kind of got New York sussed out where I know where all the organic restaurants are. I know where the organic grocery stores are. I know where the organic juice bars are and organic coffee shops. It's been a couple of times now going down there and teaching that I've really got everything mapped out where I need to get my food from. I always try and avoid food on planes, or I'll take my own. And I say always, like that's 100%. I won't touch food on a plane.
I wouldn't really call it food. You're kind of being nice.
Yeah,
But
yeah, exactly. It's whatever it is that they choose to serve. So the only thing I normally would take would be water. But even then, I'll still try and get a bottle or two once I'm past customs and going through. For me, it's more the nutrition's always easy. If I know where I'm going, and I always do, like months in advance, I will start looking for either food suppliers, and I'll get my food shipped in and like a pre-cooked or pre-delivery food service, or I just make sure I know where the restaurants and the supermarkets are that I'm going to want to shop at. The travel of stress does tell on me, and I spoke to Paul in December about it because with all the flying that I do and the dehydration, it does sometimes lead to headaches. And talking to Paul about it, he used to suffer the same. He'd fly and get migraines and bad headaches, and I've sometimes the suffer of some of that. So I've just got into using some of the essential oils and just the stuff to help me and calm me when I'm on the plane, and when I get to wherever I'm going to, I always try and actually get active as soon as I've landed and checked into where I'm going. It's either go for a walk or go and have a workout in the gym where I'm teaching and get a good meal and hydrate myself and sleep. You just get as much sleep in as I can and let the body recover a natural way.
For sure.
Absolutely. Now, with all the traveling and going through all the customs and all the security checks, do you personally at least attempt to opt out of the body scans? Or is that something that you're just kind of like the stress of dealing with that is more than the...
If I can, I will always opt out. But, I've had some journeys where it's just not even been an option. I got diverted coming back from San Diego last year to LA. and it wasn't even an option. You went through the scan or you went to the back of the line. And I was already, I don't know if you've ever been through LA airport, but there's two parts of the terminal. There's like 1 to 5 and gates 5 to 10 or 6 to 10. And I had to come out of the actual airport to go into the other side. And so I had to go through the whole customs thing again. And they're like, look, if you're going to want a body pat, it's going to be a 45-minute to an hour's wait. And my flight was about 30 minutes from closing the door. So I had no choice. But as long as I'm well prepared for that, then I'm always going to opt out of it.
Okay. Now, what are the specific reasons? Like, I know just generally it's not a good thing for you, but what are the specific reasons?
It's an X-ray. It's just a giant X-ray of the body, and you're just exposing yourself to those rays and the pollutants from them.
Okay. Yeah, and they don't even give you a lead jacket or anything, do they?
No, there's nothing. You're straight up. You're in. It scans your body twice, and I get it. You know what? I probably would take the risk, and I'd rather take that and know that I'm getting on a plane that's safe in that aspect than not. But I'm certainly not going to give them a hard time about a pat down if it means that everyone's being screened, and I'm going to have the safety and security of knowing that I'm getting on a plane that's been everyone's been thoroughly searched. It's just sad that it's come to that extent.
Yeah, absolutely. It really is.
Yeah, it's a shame, but it doesn't seem like it's going to reverse anytime soon.
I don't think it'll ever reverse, to be honest. I mean, we're never going to get rid of world issues and politics and religious issues, so it's probably only going to get worse in our lifetime.
This podcast is taking a sad turn.
Yeah, I was going to say. So Carl, how do you feel about optimism?
I just with that one thing, with the aspect of travel and safety and security right now, it's hard to see that getting better. You know, it's the world's on a tipping point to what's going to happen. So it's that's interesting. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, yeah, and it's these systems that are in place that we kind of get used to, and then we teach future generations that this is normal. And meanwhile, like 40 years ago, you know, this was not a thing. Like you got you could carry your gun on board, your pack of cigarettes, you know.
Yeah, you could pretty much do whatever back then. So it's a little different now.
Yeah. Times have definitely changed.
Yes.
I was going to ask Carl how the first Zeppelin ride was and how he enjoyed it, but I don't think we have enough time to recount that on this podcast.
Oh, nice.
Carl, what does your training look like right now?
In terms of my workouts?
Yeah.
I always try and hit up each primal movement pattern. I'll try and couple them up through a workout. I've just changed to more of a multi-body workout now. So I've just switched over. I'm in my I rotate every 3 weeks. I adapt really quick to my workouts. So I've just gone from a very heavy and like a short rep and set kind of workout where I was lifting more weight. And now I'm into a lighter weight with higher reps and more body parts at the minute. Right. I will try and train 4 or 5 days a week with 100%. I'll always have 2 days off, and on those 2 days off, they're my active rest days where I'll probably go and walk 8 to 10k with Benson once or twice a day. But it's not at any mass exertion or anything like that. It's like I said, it is an active rest day for me. So,
how do you schedule those active rest days?
Generally, it's the weekends. I'll try and train. I'll either train Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or if I need a Wednesday off, I'll do a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then just work it around that. But I more go off of how my body feels to the intensity that I work out at. But I always make sure I get 2 full days off of the actual weights every week. Sometimes it's more. Last week I had friends in town, so I only worked out 4 days last week, and I had the Friday, Saturday, Sunday with no working out. So I listen to my body, and if I've got some energy to spend, then I'm going to probably spend it in the gym. So I just learn to listen to what I can do and what intensity I can work at.
Right on. And a follow-up to that is, unless Brian, you want to hop in?
No, go for it.
Follow-up to that is there anything that you're working on professionally or in training-wise for yourself, like education-wise? Is there anything that you're striving towards right now?
Education-wise, I'm looking at doing some more of the functional diagnostic work that I do. I'm a FDM practitioner as well, so and that stands for the Functional Diagnostic Nutrition. So I certified in that quite a few years ago. And I'm just looking at, I love learning, so I'm just looking at doing some of their more advanced learning courses. I'm also probably looking at getting more hands-on and doing some more therapy courses. I have my massage therapy background, but I'm looking at getting more skill set with that within the next 12 to 24 months, I guess. But it's just finding the time to sit down and find something that fits in with my schedule.
Is there any particular modality that you're interested in?
Right now, no, I'm not. I'm just looking at different things. I probably would love to do an acupuncture course and a cupping course. I would love to look at what you mentioned earlier with the grafting. I'd love to look at the techniques of that and seeing what I can find. But, I'm very busy at the minute, and making time for that would be a little bit of a challenge. But it's something that I'm starting to look into right now.
Okay, very cool.
I did not know you did massage stuff.
I got my massage therapy course would have been way before I was CHEK. So I did all that probably
back in the days when you were stripping.
Back in the days when I was stripping and twerking.
First he dances and then he rubs you down. He uses the same oil he used on his body to make it shine.
Hey. Got to make money, boys.
Hey, you know what? I call that what's it called? A multiple threat. There's a saying. Triple threat, or triple threat, double threat. Lots of threatening stuff coming from Carl.
So anyways, Carl, we're on a little bit of a time crunch, so let's go ahead and jump right into our wrap-up questions. So the first thing I'd like to ask you is, if you had to rescue 3 books, resources, videos, programs from a fire,
or an ice storm,
would they be? Or an ice storm, right.
Oh, 3 books. Okay. What would be my 3 go-to books? It's got to be How to Eat, Move, and Be Healthy.
Okay.
Has to be. That's kind of like a Bible of anything that you work with my clients. What else would I put in there? Probably Netter's Anatomy.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Say that again?
He said okay.
Netter, Atlas of Anatomy.
Yeah, that's the one. That's always a go-to. And I'm trying to think what else in terms of like that side of things would probably be one of my muscle testing and function books. I've got numerous ones that are all equally as good as one another. But they'd definitely be the ones that I would go to. Or you know what? There might be a 4th one in there being The Subtle Body. That's a fantastic read. That one's phenomenal in terms of all the energy systems and mapping everything together.
Yeah, that's quite the textbook itself.
That's a beautiful read. Like I can just get lost in that for days.
Beautiful. Now, if you could give one practical piece of advice to our listeners, that would work, that would really hit home with 4 out of our 5 listeners.
I think we're up to 7 or 8 now.
We might be now. What would that be, and why did you pick that particular piece of advice?
Biggest piece of advice, I'd tell people to stop what they're doing and actually start listening to their body. Like, stop getting caught up in this trap of killing yourself and trying to compete with everyone else, and stop and be at one with who you are and what your body is capable of doing and what it can do. Everyone's just caught up in this race at the minute, and it's just it's making everyone worse off than what they really should be.
Okay. I love it.
All right.
Was there a second part to that question? Was there a why to that question?
Why?
Just, working in this field, everyone that I see walking through the door, they kind of all tick the same problems that they have. They're all exhausted. They're all just fatigued on every level. They're not stopping to actually stop and listen to what their body's telling them. And people have just lost that, I don't want to say the intuition. They've lost that connection that people should have with their own body. And they rely too much upon doctors and other crazy people out there to tell them this quick fix stuff that doesn't work. They've got to get it themselves. They've got to just stop and listen.
Yeah, taking responsibility for your own health is one of the best things you can do for yourself. Because not all doctors are complete idiots, and not all coaches are going to completely treat you the right way or put you in the right direction. So as long as you've got a good barometer and you're willing to research and you're willing to really pinpoint what's going on and why it's going on, you're going to be way ahead of the crowd. So that's fantastic advice.
Love it.
For sure.
So I know we've kind of touched on them a bit through our conversation today, but what are, let's say, your top 2 or 3 hacks for staying healthy?
Ooh, 2 or 3 hacks.
Mars bar every day.
Yeah.
and a Coke. That's number 2.
Coke, yeah. At least 4 cans of Red Bull or Monster Energy. 3 life hacks. You know what? Sleep. For me, sleep's my Achilles. If I don't have sleep, I'm done. So sleep, you got to go to sleep, and not at 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm 10:30, 11 o'clock at the latest. Get to bed, switch off the electronics, and get a good night's sleep every day. That's my number 1 go-to. 2, clean up your diet, man. Take the shit out your diet. Stop eating high processed foods and eat what the earth provides us. And 3, we've said it a couple of times, go and have some fun. Stop getting caught up in this sad paced world that we're in, and go have some fun and get outside and just enjoy life a little bit more. And that'd be my 3 things, man.
Once in a while.
Claudia, clearly you need some action, mate, because you keep bringing me back to that.
Hey, if you hadn't have begun there, I couldn't bring you back to it. So,
oh my God.
How many questions left, Brian? How many questions?
Oh, we got a few left.
Taking down the ship.
Right. Thank you, Claude. I'm going to start calling you the iceberg.
Oh shit! I like that, man. I like that.
So, Carl, what purchase under $100 has most benefited you or your practice in the last year?
Oh, How to Eat, Move, and Be Healthy.
You bought that in the last year?
I'm always buying them because I'm giving them to my clients.
Fair enough.
So, as in, what have I bought for myself?
Yeah.
Less than $100. It's made a big improvement. Ooh, less than $100. That's a good one.
I know something over $100. He's got a pretty nice car. Let's put it that way.
Oh, my car's my baby. That's a little bit of fun. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Less than $100. What would I say? I try not to spend overindulge on a lot of things. I bought a new pair of Vibrams a couple of months ago.
Okay.
And I love them. I love the barefoot training technology, and unfortunately in Canada it's cold, so having that layer on your feet's fantastic. So that was probably one of the last things I purchased for less than $100. That's it's a huge part of my life, and I'm kind of barefoot all the time, but to have the Vibrams on is great.
Very nice.
Got a couple pairs myself. You always get some looks when you're out in public, but honestly, I don't care, man.
Oh, the questions I get all the time. What are those things on your feet? Oh my God, what are you wearing? I'm just, hey, you know what? For me, it's a sales pitch. I'm like, well, actually,
Right?
Actually, I do CrossFit. These are functional
yes.
fitness. Uh,
God, that reminds me of somebody I heard somewhere that, wearing Vibrams and drinking out of a glass water bottle will actually raise your cortisol.
Oh, I'd love to know why.
It's a joke.
I know. I'm
Okay.
messing with you.
Fair enough. Wow, wait, this is going downhill real quick.
you guys deserve each other. I'll put it that way.
All right, so other than myself and Claude, who is the first person that comes to mind? Or what is your definition of the optimum human?
Ooh, the optimum human. There's Paul's got to be in there for me in terms of my mentorship and like my teachings. Paul's been a phenomenal teacher, guide, mentor. Quite honestly, everyone that I've ever met in the CHEK courses or anyone that I've ever taught has just become, they all are phenomenal humans. You know, they're on a path they've chosen and they've invested a lot of time to be on. And or anyone out there that's a Czechia, I'd definitely put them on that optimal stance because they're all out there trying to do their best that they can, and they're trying to push it and they're trying to make it work, and they're trying at what they're capable of at that point to make changes on whatever level they can.
Well, you're welcome.
Yes. Part of me wants to crack a joke here, and part of me wants to just humbly say, I appreciate that answer.
I want to hear the joke. Come on, what's the joke?
Nothing
Brian looking in the mirror.
Oh. Fair enough.
All right, I'm going to stop being a dick.
Is that even possible?
No, but I'm going to pretend like it is.
Okay. So, Carl, who would you want to hear on this podcast, and what would you want to hear them talk about?
Podcast. Who would I want to hear? I would want to hear someone talking about quantum physics.
Quantum physics.
You know,
I don't know who.
I've been wanting to get who's the
Elon
guy?
Musk or someone.
Who's the guy that took over for Carl Sagan?
You know what? I think, Carl, you might be pegging us a little bit too high on the intelligence scale because I would have to research questions that I have no idea what they mean.
Right.
I don't think you need to ask questions for someone like that. They would just be able to talk on whatever their theorem is right now. I don't know. You know, that stuff fascinates me right now, and where the planet's going. I would want to listen to anyone that has some crazy ideas about where the world's going and where energy's going and where humanity's going right now.
Okay, so Bill Nye or Neil deGrasse Tyson, we're coming for you.
Yeah, go get them.
So Carl, how can our listeners find out more about you? Where can they find you?
Toronto based. If anyone's in Toronto, they can come and find me here. I'm pretty much in the studio 6 days a week.
What's your website?
The website company is called Raven Wellness.
Right on.
So the website is www.ravenwellness.com. I'm also pretty active on Instagram and Facebook under the same title, under Raven Wellness.
Awesome.
Beautiful. Any parting thoughts, asks, words of wisdom for our 6 listeners?
I would just say thank you to you guys. You know, this is something huge. You're trying to get the message out there to as many people as you can, and little things like this help, and every little helps. To anyone that's out there listening, you know, you've got to stop and you've got to listen to your body. Take some time and invest it in yourself. You know, don't worry about the latest fashion thing or spending it on alcohol. Spend a little money on yourself and invest in the one person that really matters, and that's you at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
True words. I think that's a great place to wrap this up. Carl, thank you for coming on the show. Brian, thank you for tolerating me again.
Absolutely, you're welcome.
And thank you to all of our listeners. We appreciate it that you've made it this far. Maybe you didn't. In that case, screw you. But if you did, thank you, and I love you.
They didn't hear that anyway if they stopped listening.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I said it. I'm scared of somebody beating me up. So.
Right. Carl, thank you so much for coming on today, man. It was a blast, informative. So thank you again.
Thank you for having me, guys. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely.
All right, Carl. We'll catch you later, man.
Take care, guys.
Thanks for listening to the Optimum Human Podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please remember to head on over to iTunes and give a 5-star rating and review, which will help spread the word to more awesome listeners just like you. Head on over to theoptimumhuman.com and subscribe to the free newsletter and get the Optimum Humans Blueprint to the Optimum Life. Download it instantly. Thanks for listening.